Caught in 4K is a snappy phrase that's all about being busted without a shadow of doubt, thanks to ultra-high-definition resolution. Imagine being captured doing something embarrassing or scandalous on a 4K video. The quality is so crisp that denial becomes futile. That's the essence right there. It's often used humorously to call out blatant lies, faux pas, or sketchy activities, when there's irrefutable proof on broader social media platforms, making it quite a burn in the digital age where every action holds the potential of becoming ultra-clear evidence. Mid, a widely used term in conversations today, hails from the world of video gaming. It designates something as mediocre or average, often used to describe an unimpressive performance or an ordinary person. So if you're being called mid, you're essentially just in the middle, not terrible but not great either. Brainrot can point to an obsessive fixation on a particular subject that plagues the mind incessantly. Often this term is used in fandom cultures when one cannot stop thinking about a specific character, series, or concept, as if the brain's rotting under the onslaught of constant contemplation. It captures that feeling of being mentally consumed by something, usually in a lighthearted or self-deprecating way. Gucci is an exuberant way of saying you're good, everything's cool, or things are going well. It's adapted from the luxury Italian brand, symbolizing high class or luxury, giving the phrase a fun and extravagant twist. So if a friend asks, "How's it going?" and you respond, "Gucci," you're implying that life's pretty splendid. Dank, a term originally denoting coolness and chill vibes, has since grown to principally depict internet memes of exceptionally high humor and surreal quality. This slang reigns on digital platforms, especially ones like Reddit or Instagram, where amusing, heavily ironic, and sometimes downright bizarre content is shared. Ultimately, if you encounter a creation that's surreal, weird, and extremely funny, probably bordering on the absurd, that's widely regarded as dank. Vibe check is a psychological evaluation, often spontaneous or impromptu, that determines the energy, aura, or vibe a particular person or environment possesses. Picture it this way: you walk into a room and feel the ambience, the feeling in the air. That's your internal vibe check coming into action. It's a phrase popular among youths to describe this intuitive, emotional radar. Topic cap. Cap is essentially a metaphor for reaching a limit or maximum. Picture it as a virtual bottle where contents exceed its capacity, symbolically indicating that there's no room for anything more. It's similarly expressed in situations where something or someone has reached their ultimate point and cannot be pushed any further. Roman Empire, a pretty lit period in history, stretched from northern Africa to Scotland and from Spain to Syria. Seriously, it was the big vibes back then. Symbolized by the fit gladiators, it was a period of flexing governance, vast architecture, and intense military strategy. But like all parties that got too wild, this ancient civilization ghosted after centuries of power, leading to what we disastrously call the Dark Ages. Yeet operates primarily as an exclamation of joy, triumph, or enthusiasm, often used when throwing something with force or performing a particularly athletic move. Additionally, it can be a verb indicating the act of hurling something or energetically propelling oneself in a direction. So whether you're slam dunking a basketball or tossing out an old pizza box, you might just find yourself yeeting. Aura, often used to describe a distinctive vibe or energy that someone exudes. It's that intuitive feeling you get about a person, their unique atmosphere or personality spirit. For instance, if someone has a chill aura, it means they radiate calmness and relaxation, making those around them feel similarly at ease. Hit different speaks to an emotional or physical experience that leaves a deep and unique impact, setting it apart from similar occurrences. Consider that bittersweet feeling when a song you haven't heard in ages takes you back to a specific moment in time. That's hitting different. It's this cool way of acknowledging that certain things resonate with us on an unexpected level, creating a memorable and often unrepeatable sensation. Basic in the language of today's youth, describes individuals who lack originality and tend to follow mainstream trends. So if someone says, "she's so basic," they essentially imply that she has no unique characteristics and simply follows the crowd. It's often thrown around the internet with an air of dismissiveness and implies a lack of individuality. Beige flag describes a situation where things are fundamentally boring or mundane, much like the plain color of beige. It's a signal for the need to spice things up or add color in an otherwise drab scenario. So, if you're ever in a conversation and someone raises the beige flag, they crave for a bit more excitement or intrigue. BDE is all about the aura you radiate. It stands for big dick energy. Interestingly, it's not about physical attributes but an extreme self-confidence, a devil-may-care attitude that appeals to others. Feel free to embody BDE, as it does not discriminate. No matter your gender, you can carry this magnetic charisma confidently in your style. Bestie is a term of endearment used predominantly amongst close friends. It is a shorthand version of best friend, expressing deep affection and camaraderie. This word exemplifies the importance placed on friendship within youth culture and is widely used across social media, especially on platforms like TikTok. Bet, often sandwiched into text conversations or casual chat, is essentially an affirmative response, similar to saying okay or sure. It affirms the speaker's agreement or willingness to proceed with the proposition in question. However, it can also be used in a sarcastic or doubtful tone, emphasizing disbelief or reluctance, all hinging on the speaker's intent and tone. Big yikes is a term you might hear when somebody is expressing a higher level of shock or surprise than a simple yikes would convey. Often used in reaction to a major faux pas, embarrassing moment, or awkward situation, it heightens the effect, amplifying the cringe factor. Return the reaction dial from 10 to 100 by just adding big before your yikes, and you've made a bold statement without even trying. Bop is a term you'll often hear when there's a catchy tune or song that you can't help but move along to. Think of it as a soundtrack that lights up your mood, gets your head nodding, and feet tapping without even realizing it. So next time you hear a track you love, remember, that's your bop. Bruh is essentially a casual term used to address someone, similar to how one might use dude or bro. It's normally employed in the context of disbelief, exasperation, annoyance, or to convey surprise. This slang is often used to evoke comic effect or convey a laid-back, relaxed approach to conversations. Bugging refers to the action of irritating or annoying someone, a common expression when someone is bothered or disturbed. It's often used when somebody is incessantly nagging or pestering you and you're at your wit's end. So remember, if someone says that you're bugging them, it's probably time to take a step back and give them some space. Bussin has hit the linguistic food scene with quite a splash. While initially perplexing, it's simply an expressive term used to describe food that's incredibly delicious. So the next time your pizza is bursting with flavor or your burger is exceptionally juicy, simply call it bussin. Clapback refers to a whip-smart, instantaneous, and often scathing response to criticism or an insult. It's about defending oneself with a biting comeback that claps right back at the offending comment. Packed with assertiveness and a dash of humor, this no-nonsense retort serves to put one's adversary in their place promptly and decisively. Cook is a casual term often used to indicate someone who is performing an action or task exceptionally well or with finesse. For example, if someone aces a test or nails their dance routine, you might hear, "Man, you're cooking." It's also used figuratively to describe the process of carefully crafting or preparing something, especially in creative fields like music or art. Crash out takes us straight to the scene of bedtime, or maybe you're at a party, and suddenly the energy reserves are depleted. Essentially, it's all about heading off to sleep, and not just any kind of sleep. We're talking about the deep, heavy, immediate kind of sleep. Like when you're so tired, you just collapse onto the bed and you're out before your head hits the pillow. The term paints an almost comical picture of exhaustion, and here's the kicker: it doesn't necessarily mean you're in the comfort of your own bed. You could crash out anywhere when sleep becomes the boss. Crush, a term you might send floating down the group chat. It's that person you've got this intense and oftentimes unexpressed affection for, typically accompanied by bouts of nervousness and daydreaming. Think of it like having a minor case of butterflies when they're around. Dab originated from a hip-hop dance move where you drop your head while raising an arm and an elbow in a gesture that somewhat resembles a polite attempt to sneeze into your elbow. It broke into mainstream culture via sports celebrations, music, and social media, becoming a viral trend that both celebrates achievement and signifies confidence. Beyond just a dance step, it also evolved as a slang term symbolizing a quick, cool response, transcending its hip-hop roots to become a staple in youth communication culture. Dead takes on a whole new meaning when used as a slang term. It's often deployed to articulate a strong feeling of amusement, generally if something is so hysterically funny on a mind-blowing level that one might die laughing. For instance, if a friend tells a ridiculously funny joke, your response could be a simple, yet powerful, dead. Delusionship is all about imagining or concocting a romantic relationship with someone that just isn't reality. It's where you've felt the chemistry and connection, but in truth, those romantic feelings or relationship status exist only in your mind. Avoid confusing it for a crush or infatuation though. It's way beyond that, more like a fictitious narrative built around a person, so intense that the reality seems blurred. Drip in popular culture refers to having swagger or showcasing an exceptionally confident, stylish, and impressive persona, usually enhanced by a person's choice of fashionable clothing or accessories. This term is often associated with expressions like "that's some serious drip," pointing out someone's impressive fashion sense. Essentially, if you have the drip, you're oozing coolness and you're turning heads with your style choices. Era is fundamentally a designation of time, a distinct period in history that comes with its own unique cultural trademarks. In the context of Gen Z lingo, this might refer to the transitional phase characterized by the emergence of their very own jargon such as lit, flex, or clout, which is predominantly influenced by technology, internet culture, and social media. Essentially, era in the context of Gen Z would mark the distinct phase of language transformation and the ever-changing, evolving semantics driven by young, tech-savvy individuals. Face card refers to someone's reputation or how well known they are, particularly on social media platforms. It's like a digital version of street cred in the online world. So if someone has a strong face card, they're recognized and respected in their circle or area of expertise. Failure management is when you bounce back from a setback or mistake, almost like a digital version of dusting yourself off and trying again. It's about learning from your losses to avoid repeating the same oopsies. Essentially, it's turning "I've got this" into "I got this" again, no matter how epic the fail. Fire is a term that is often thrown around to describe something that's hot or amazing. Say you're browsing a new clothing line that catches your eyes, you might declare, "This collection is absolute fire," meaning it's stylish, distinctive, and trendy. However, just as fast as fire spreads, this term can leap from clothes to the latest chart-topping song, a mouth-watering dish, or even a breathtaking idea, denoting nothing but high praise and admiration. When it comes to fit, it's all about your outfit of the day or your stylish getup. It has nothing to do with fitness or the gym. A fire fit can certainly make you the center of attention. So next time you want to compliment someone's clothing choice, just say, "nice fit." Originating from African American vernacular English, finna is a contraction of the phrase fixing to. Traditionally used to express an immediate intention or plan, it's now adopted by the digital age as a more casual way to say you're about to do something. compact and informal, finna resonates with the fast-paced, fluid slang of online conversations. Flop is most commonly used to describe something or someone that fails to impress or live up to expectations. In discussions, it might refer to a post or comment that doesn't gather traction or engagement. Picture a much-anticipated movie that turns out to be a total letdown. That's what you call a flop. Gagged is often used to express intense shock or surprise. Think a scenario so unbelievable, it figuratively stifles your responses. Additionally, it can also indicate being overwhelmingly impressed by something extraordinary. Quite essentially, if something leaves you speechless, you're gagged. Ghosting refers to abruptly cutting off all communication with someone without any explanation. Many folks perceive it as a digital disappearing act, mostly utilized in romantic relationships. It's like vanishing into thin air, leaving the other person questioning what went wrong. Girlboss represents a self-empowered woman who owns her success in business and life. She's dynamic, innovative, calling the shots, not just elevating herself, but often lifting others up too. It's a term proudly worn by many young females, marking their territory in entrepreneurship and leadership roles, signifying a breaking away from traditional gender roles in an assertive, progressive manner. Glaze, a term that finds its place in the elaborate dictionary of contemporary lingo, formally refers to a shiny coating or finish. However, to the connected, hip crowd, it denotes the act of chilling out or relaxing. Akin to the layer of tranquility that glazing adds to a busy canvas, using glaze implies taking a breather from life's mad rush. For instance, a typical conversation might go, "Hey, what's up? Nothing much, just glazing at home with some Netflix." It represents the charm of casual days, enveloped in serenity and leisure. Glizzy is essentially a hot dog in the vernacular of today's youth, a hidden gem of urban colloquial language. It crept its way into internet linguistics through memes and social media platforms, often becoming the butt of jokes when anyone is seen excessively indulging in hot dogs. Despite its humorous undertones, the term is often turned towards firearms in more serious situations, illustrating the nimble way slang can adapt and evolve. Glow up paints the picture of an impressive transformation or upgrade. Think of it as a metaphorical metamorphosis, one where someone becomes their best self aesthetically, emotionally, or otherwise, often amplified through concerted self-care and self-improvement efforts. It's an applauding nod for personal growth that's visible, like someone's just leveled up in the game of life. GOAT refers to the acronym for greatest of all time. It's commonly used to applause at someone's skill, accomplishment, or status, indicating that they've reached the pinnacle in their respective field. So when you call someone the GOAT, you're acknowledging them as the best at what they do. Gas, as it's known these days, isn't something you fill up at the pump, but rather an adjective to describe something as exceptional or high quality. If you hear someone say that party was gas, they're actually showering praise, signifying that they had an incredible time. So don't be alarmed next time if something is referred to as gas. It's not an observable matter in physics, but a modern-day compliment. Green flag is a term that signifies positive, go-ahead signals in a context or a situation. Think of it as the exact opposite of red flags, so these would be behaviors or actions that impress you or give you a sense that things are progressing positively. Essentially, it's a metaphor for whatever makes you think, "This is good, I should continue in this direction." Huzz is a unique term you might often stumble upon, defining those random moments when everything feels super chill. It's a state of coziness, peace, and overall feel-good vibes that one experiences. Just chilling with friends, maybe around a fire pit, sharing stories and laughs, that's a state of huzz for ya. Ick is a term used when expressing disgust or distaste towards something, often used to replace words like ew or gross. It's typically used when encountering something unpleasant or unsavory, possibly even repellent. So when someone shudders and utters ick, they're expressing an aversion to whatever has caught their attention. IJBOL is a quick and casual way to share your emotions, especially when you're feeling overjoyed or extremely satisfied with something. This acronym stands for I'm just bursting out laughing and is often used virtually to convey laughter in text messages, social media posts, or chat rooms. Just remember, next time you're chatting online and get hit with a wave of humor, drop an IJBOL to share your amusement. Ioop is an expression of shock or surprise, often used when someone makes an unexpected comment or uncovers a bit of juicy gossip. Originating from drag culture, this catchphrase infiltrated mainstream language through social media, creating a quick phrase that instantly communicates surprise or an abrupt pause in conversation. Next time you stumble upon a surprising revelation, remember, Ioop might be the perfect response. iPad kid refers to a child or young adolescent who has grown up using technology like iPads and smartphones from a very early age. This is a generation that's arguably more tech-savvy than any that came before, effortlessly navigating digital landscapes. It also implies a potential over-reliance or addiction to these devices, often provoking discussions about balanced screen time. Its giving is utilized to convey a certain vibe, aura, or essence that someone or something emits, twisting the typical language structure. Think of it as a stylish way to say, this feels like, or this reminds me of. For example, if your friend shows up in vintage clothes, you might say, it's giving 90s vibes to describe their look. Iykyk, standing for if you know, you know, is often used to indicate insider knowledge or shared understanding on social media platforms. It's a form of digital nod among the internet community, acknowledging a common experience or sentiment with a dash of exclusivity. So when you see this acronym, the person is likely referring to something specific that only a certain group would recognize. Karen embodies a stereotype of a middle-aged, entitled, and often white woman who is aggressive in trivial situations. Symbolizing a sense of entitlement and privilege, Karens are often depicted demanding to speak to the manager or disregarding public rules for personal convenience. The term is increasingly used to highlight incidents of racial bias, public meltdowns, and inappropriate behavior. Subject on fleek. On fleek refers to something being perfect, flawless, or in its prime. Essentially, it's a high compliment. For instance, if you spot a person with perfectly styled hair, you might say, your hair is on fleek. It's a way to acknowledge how immaculate something looks without resorting to traditional descriptors. Lit, it's a term floating around that sets a high bar for how impressive, exciting, or enjoyable something is. You can deem an event, a person, even a comment, as lit if it possesses exceptional qualities or sparks exhilaration. Be cautious though, using it excessively may cause it to lose its fiery edge. Looksmaxxing revolves around the idea of maximizing one's aesthetics to become more physically attractive, often involving changes related to grooming, fitness, or even surgical alterations. As a term popularized in online communities, it signifies the pursuit of a better appearance through a continuous process of self-improvement. Despite its modern implications, looksmaxxing isn't solely about shallow vanity, but rather an expression of personal development and the desire to feel confident in one's own skin. Lore in the realm of modern communication refers to the collective knowledge and traditions passed on within specific communities, be it gamers, anime fans, or pop culture enthusiasts. This knowledge encapsulates character histories, event sequences, and narrative arcs, often forming the foundation of discussions, memes, or inside references. Unique to each community, lore helps establish a shared understanding and language, effectively fostering a sense of belonging and togetherness. Locked in is an expression used when someone has decided on something and isn't going to change their mind. The choice or decision is firm and definite, almost like a lock that can't be opened. It conveys commitment to a thing, idea, or even a plan, communicating a sort of unwavering certainty. Ghosting refers to the act of suddenly ending all communication with someone without explanation. It's like a relationship version of disappearing into thin air. Particularly common in the dating scene, it's as if you become an undetectable phantom, evading messages, calls, and meetups, leaving the other person unsure what they did or what might have happened. Be aware, this move is not appreciated by everyone. Mew is a term often used to express a cute whimper or complaint, similar to the sound a kitten makes. Imagine it used in conversations when someone is playfully pleading for something they desire. So the next time you hear someone mew, they're likely not discussing Pokémon, but painting a playful complaint with a dash of charm. Mog, quite an unusual term, right? This isn't your typical board game or a curious sci-fi creature. In the world of slang, to mog is to outperform, overshadow, or dominate someone, often depicting the comparison of physical appearance or success. It's less of a competitive boast, and more about distinguishing one's superiority or dominance in a rather teasing or humorous manner. Moots is a term intertwined with social media interactions, specifically referring to your mutual followers. Imagine two people on a platform like Twitter or Instagram, following and engaging with each other's posts. They are moots. However, just following each other doesn't cut it. There needs to be some form of regular interaction to truly qualify someone as your moot. Netflix and chill, a phrase born out of internet culture, is a euphemistic way of inviting someone over for, let's just say, intimate activities under the guise of watching TV or a movie on Netflix. Though it might sound like a casual invitation for a relaxed evening, be aware, there's often an underlying dual proposition implied. So next time you hear it, remember, the agenda might extend far beyond just binge-watching your favorite shows. No cap is a phrase rooted in credibility. It's about speaking the truth. If you say something and follow it up with no cap, you're emphasizing that you're not lying, stretching the truth, or boasting. Picture it as a contemporary way of swearing on your honor or making a pinky promise, a verbal guarantee that you're keeping it real. OK Boomer claps back at a disconnect between generations, notably used when the older generation, the boomers, fail to comprehend or dismiss the realities of the younger ones. This playful yet sharp retort symbolizes a youth-initiated rebellion against dismissive attitudes, opinions, and criticisms. So next time you hear OK Boomer, remember, it's less about age and more about a call for change and understanding. Oof is an exclamation, an empathetic interjection often used to express discomfort, shock, or pain. You'd find it popping up in texts or social media, usually as a response to hearing difficult or awkward news. Think of it as a digital sympathy sigh, an indication of empathetic acknowledgement. Oomf is an acronym that stands for one of my followers. It's typically used to reference someone from your online follower list without directly naming them. It cleverly allows you to discuss or mention someone in a vague, somewhat covert manner, adding a sense of intrigue to digital conversations. Op refers to a perceived opponent or a competition of sorts, typically used in online gaming and increasingly in general conversation as well. It's derived from opponent and conveys a sense of rivalry or challenge. It can be used to describe anything from an opposing sports team to a difficult work project, or it might be playfully used among friends to suggest a friendly competition or disagreement. Out of pocket initially comes from the phrase, paying out of pocket, meaning to pay for something directly, rather than through an intermediary, such as a third-party insurance provider or government agency. However, in recent lingo, it has taken a departure from its original meaning. It's now used to describe someone who's drastically out of line or behaving wildly inappropriate. For instance, if your friend shows up at your birthday party without a gift and eats the most cake, you'd say, "That's really out of pocket." Owned is a term often used to imply a sense of domination or superiority in a particular situation. Think of it as a virtual version of emerging victorious in a challenge or argument. So if you hear someone say they got owned, they're probably admitting that they've been bested in some way or form. Period embodies a powerful sense of finality or emphasis. Usually coming at the end of a declaration, it's similar to bang on a gavel in a courtroom, signaling an irrefutable statement. More than just a punctuation mark, it's a decisive exclamation that tips its hat to both humor and sass, allowing the speaker to captivate audiences with an authentic flair. Pick me is a term that's been thrown around a lot lately. It refers to someone who tries exceptionally hard to be chosen by others, generally in a romantic or social sense. Often it's used to call out behavior where a person, particularly a woman, will degrade or demean their own kind in order to gain attention or favor from another group or individual. Pookie, a playful and endearing term, often pops up in friendly chats and intimate conversations. It's used primarily as a nickname or term of affection, rather like buddy or darling, but with a more modern twist. However, like many slang terms, the meaning can pivot based on context, treading lines between affection, sarcasm, or even irony, but mostly it's all about warmth and familiarity. Queen in the current lingo represents a person who's confident, impressive, and dominates in their field. Similar to royalty, it praises someone's ability to take command, often used to highlight independence and empowerment. It's not gender-specific. Anyone who's owning their space and making impressive strides can be acknowledged as a queen. Ratio is a term originating online and often used on social media platforms. In the simplest terms, it references when the number of replies to a post outweighs the number of likes or retweets. Many see it as a public humiliation. A digital display of being ratioed points to a controversial or unpopular post that has stirred up more backlash than support. Red flag is when something about a situation or person indicates a potential problem or danger. Picture it like signal flares going off in your head, warning you to be wary and tread carefully. This phrase is commonly used in discussions about relationships and personal interactions to highlight troubling behaviors or circumstances. Rizz simplified relates to an individual displaying impressive creativity or finesse, a compliment acknowledging someone's unique talents or abilities. Picture an artist painting an abstract masterpiece or a DJ creating a fresh, distinctive beat. Both could be considered rizz. It's admiration wrapped up in a single word, celebrating the innovative thinkers among us. Salty refers to that feeling of being slightly irritated or bitter, a mild form of anger, if you will. Much like a dish that's been oversalted and affects the overall flavor, being salty is when someone's mood or attitude taints a situation or conversation. So next time you feel a bit off and can't quite articulate it, remember, you're most likely just feeling a bit salty. Secure the bag quite simply refers to achieving a goal or, more specifically, obtaining what you want. Often used in the context of financial success or scoring a deal, the phrase encourages a sense of determination and focus on the result. So if you're aiming to secure the bag, you're working hard to succeed, whether that be clinching a job, signing a contract, or saving for that dream holiday. Sheesh, ladies and gentlemen, is a term floating around the internet currently, gaining popularity through viral TikTok videos and online gaming streams. It serves as a digital equivalent of an eye roll, expressing disbelief, exasperation, or shock, usually through a prolonged sheesh. So whether you just pulled off a phenomenal in-game move or simply can't believe what your friend did, spice up your reaction with a quick sheesh. Shook is a feeling of utter surprise, shock, or disbelief, encapsulating every bouncing emotion that rattles your reality. An emotional earthquake shaking the ground beneath your feet, it embodies a sudden impact, causing everything familiar to tremble. So when something leaves you speechless, befuddled, and wide-eyed, you're officially shook. Sigma refers to an individual who rejects societal standings and instead follows their own internal compass, often resulting in them being perceived as mysterious or typically an introverted character due to their preference for solitude. This label highlights their tendency to be independent thinkers and not bound by societal standards or expectations. It's a way of describing someone who pursues their own path, regardless of norms, making them a little bit of an enigma in any group setting. Simp is a trendy term, often used to describe someone, usually a male, who's overly attentive or submissive towards someone they're attracted to, often to gain validation or affection. Contrary to traditional gender expectations, a simp often exhibits excessive kindness and does way too much for the person they're pining for, without any guarantee of reciprocation. The term has sparked various discussions online about relationship dynamics and the perception of manhood. A situationship is like a relationship in its early stage, but without any commitment or labels attached. It's when two people like spending time together and often act as a couple, but they have consciously decided not to define their connection. This undefined relationship status can lead to confusion, because without clear interpersonal boundaries, people in a situationship struggle to understand their own and their partner's expectations. Sksksk is essentially a keyboard smash often associated with laughter, surprise, or excitement, typically used in online chatting. You'll frequently see it in texting or on social media, particularly when someone finds something silly or funny and wants to offer a digital version of a giggle. Think of it as this generation's unique way of expressing amusement, without resorting to an old school LOL. Slaps is an expression used to illustrate that something is exceptionally good, similar to how a hit song might be referred to as a slap. This term is often used in the context of music or food. For instance, you might hear someone say their new favorite song slaps, or this burrito absolutely slaps. It's essentially an exciting modern way to express enthusiasm and approval in a laid-back, casual manner. Slay, when tossed around by today's youth, is a term of high praise usually reserved for when someone is performing exceptionally well or looking absolutely stunning. Picture a friend acing a difficult test or rocking a killer outfit. You'd say they're slaying in that moment. So when you see folks out there slaying, give them a nod of recognition for their excellence or their unabashed display of confidence and style. Snatched, quite the compliment in online slang, is equivalent to saying something looks great or is perfect. It's often used to praise someone's fashion or makeup, essentially implying that they're so stunning it's as if they've snatched everyone's attention. So next time you see a jaw-dropping outfit, you'd say, "Wow, you look snatched." Sus is quite the charmer in online circles, derived from the popular multiplayer game Among Us. It's shorthand for suspicious or suspect, often used when someone's behavior is questionable or odd, raising eyebrows and suspicions. Imagine being an imposter trying to blend in with the crew. Every move could be seen as sus, so tread lightly. Skill issue is a phrase that has gained popularity amongst digital natives, steering clear from its literal interpretation. Unveiling its true essence, it's all about a light-hearted roast often used in the gaming world to suggest that losing isn't about the game's fault, but it's simply lack of players' skills. Rooted in sarcasm, when you come across skill issue, don't fret, it's just playful banter signifying room for improvement in your gameplay. Tea is not just a soothing beverage, it's an entirely different realm when it comes to youth lingo. Bursting the bubble, it's essentially the juicy information or the gossip shared between friends. So next time you hear spill the tea, just get ready for a spicy scoop. Touch grass playfully suggests someone to get off their electronic devices and experience the real world outside as a way to achieve a balance. Often you'll find it darting around online circles when someone is perceived to be overly consumed by the virtual world, basically saying, take a break, get some sun, put your feet on some actual grass. So whenever you see it, it's more of a hilarious plea urging you to unplug and soak in some reality. Tweaking is like being hyperactive and restless after consuming too much coffee or energy drinks. Picture someone who can't sit still, excessively fidgets, or exhibits characteristics of extreme impatience. It often refers to erratic behavior caused by staying awake too long, usually due to a burst of adrenaline or intake of substances such as caffeine. Unalive is a term circulating on social media platforms, which refers to the extreme level of embarrassment or social discomfort a person might feel after committing a faux pas or making a mistake. It's like saying you're so embarrassed, you wish the ground would swallow you up, but without the heavy implications of the phrase, "I wish I could die." It's a self-deprecating way of acknowledging the blunder in a humorous, albeit dramatic, way. Understood. The assignment is the virtual head pat we give when someone not only meets expectations, but knocks it out of the park. Quite similar to acing a test, it refers to any instance where someone or something wildly succeeds. It could be as simple as mastering a new recipe to something more complex like stylishly pulling off an outrageous fashion ensemble. Yeet is a versatile expression rooted in African American vernacular English. Predominantly used online, it's a way to show excitement, approval, or surprise, equivalent to shouting wow or yes. In a different context, it can also mean to throw something, usually done with force. VSCO girl refers to a popular trend among young women who showcase their environmentally conscious, laid-back lifestyle through specific fashion and accessory choices, often documented on the VSCO photo editing app. Key signatures of a VSCO girl include oversized t-shirts, scrunchies, hydro flask water bottles, and a genuine concern for environmental issues. This term has evolved as an identifier for a distinct, casual style and attitude predominant among teens and young adults today. Woke is a term that refers to being aware or knowledgeable about societal issues such as racial and social injustices. Often used to describe someone who stands against prejudice and discrimination, it signifies a person who is conscientious and in touch with the reality of social inequalities. So, if you hear someone is woke, it affirms their enhanced understanding of the societal issues and their participation in the fight for equality. Who is this diva? It's a playful yet powerful term used to describe someone who's embracing their inner superstar, exuding both confidence and sass. This person doesn't shy away from the spotlight and knows how to command attention, much like a pop diva on stage. So when someone asks, "Who is this diva?" they're acknowledging and celebrating the strong, vibrant personality that person radiates. Yap, simply put, refers to someone's continuous or excessive chatter. It's like someone talking nonstop during a car ride about things that may or may not be of any importance. Worst case scenario, the yap could turn into a verbal onslaught of gossip. So next time your friend doesn't cease their babbling, just know you're dealing with a classic case of yap. This session is over now. Thank you for your time. You are awesome. I will see you in the next one.